Alright, my name is Cadet Monroe, and I'll be briefing Operation Zone Breaker. To orient you to the TMK, here's our north safety arrow facing that way. We have our phase line WASP and phase line Hornet here, and then our LOA all the way up here. So, task org, second platoon is in the standard organization with 4 squads. First squad is Assault 1 with EPW phases 1 through 4. Second squad is Assault 2, aim litter phaser 1 through 4. Third squad is Security, 4th squad weapons. And then we have a squad, Scout squad attached until phase 3, and a weapons section beginning with the passive line phase 1, tack on until phase 4. Situation, counteroffensive launched in March. US and ROKA drove the North Koreans and Chinese back to the DMZ. However, the current line of contact runs along the southern boundary of the DMZ, leaving areas vulnerable for enemy artillery fire. The enemy refuses to do any negotiations and return to the pre-invasion truce. The US and the ROK will conduct offensive operations to drive the enemy north of the DMZ. We have the enemy's 4th and 5th CAB within our area of interest, no potential CAB within our AO. Our platoon's role in this operation will not allow enemy forces to interfere with the 25th Infantry Division's main effort, which will be over there. Area of interest, south is the southern edge of the DMZ, down here. North, the northern edge of the DMZ, up here. This includes a defendable area to watch for a counterattack once we reach phase 4. Extends to our east approximately 04 north-south grid line where the 3rd platoon will be operating. Area of operation bounded on the south by the southern boundary of the DMZ, and then north by the northern boundary, which is our current limit of advance. West boundary follows the high ground, approximately Charlie Hotel 021027 northeast to 201 Fowler 27, then continues northeast along the loose surface road, and then a trail until reaching the limit of advance. See Charlie Hotel 009er 069er. The east boundary divides us from 3rd platoon to our east, and the boundary is following a valley floor until reaching the LOA at approximately Charlie Hotel 018000750. Terrain. Our area of interest consists of steep and rugged terrain, which is lightly to moderately forested with both deciduous and coniferous trees. North of the DMZ, also our limit of advance. Terrain is mostly open, with some fields and lower ground of the area of interest. There are 2 valleys within our AO, one here and one up there. One to our east divides our eastern boundary between us and 3rd platoon, and another valley to our northwest of our AO runs through the boundary of the west of our AO. The intermittent streams in these valleys are pretty dry this time of year. There are a few hilltops within our AO, which would be advantageous to our scout squad, so they can get eyes on the potential enemy. So we have a hill here, hill here, hill here, here, and then up over there. The trees will somewhat limit operations due to operations at night. Night vision will be necessary. The forest is thin, and that is thin enough where you can fire out to 300 to 500 meters. The trees will be in full bloom, so the ground shouldn't be too littered with deadfall and be crunchy. Avenues of approach. There are loose surface roads across the AO from east to west, which served as patrol roads before the invasion. One extended road goes north to south through the area of operations. North to south travel is limited to a few short trails, besides that one long one. Take particular note to the road to the east to west in our AO that is identified as PL WASP, and the east to west road in the DMZ as Hornet. Key terrain, Hilltop 165 and 111 provide us with advantageous view of the AO. For prior intelligence, Hilltop 165, which is located at Charlie Hotel 0210 Fowler 6, and 111 at Charlie Hotel 02703 Fowler are marked at potential high grounds occupied by enemy LPOP positions. Hilltop 165 is the highest point within our AO. It is critical that we establish control over these as they provide the most watch within the AO. Obstacles, there shouldn't be too many obstacles. The weapons section that is tack onto us will be mounted. The ground is pretty dry and hard due to not a lot of rainfall. Movement mounted should not be an issue. The enemy will be mounted and therefore will be restricted to the lower ground, which is why we're going to be trying to bounce along the higher ground of the hills. Covering concealment, we will be using the higher ground to get eyes on the enemy before they get eyes on us. We will be hugging the west boundary of our AO to stay from the valley on our east. This will be the enemy's most likely avenue of approach. Using adequate spacing will be crucial for this operation in order to keep surprise. The trees are thick enough to provide cover for small arms fire. Weather, the highs for the 11th of May 2024 will vary from 77 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. The lows will be 48 to 52 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds are between 4 to 7. Visibility is up to 7 to 8 nautical miles. The sunset is at 1920 and then a 0525 sunrise. Humidity is relative to the area. It is roughly between 20 and 95%. No rain or snow is expected, and weather should not have any effect on operations. Digging in to the ground and creating foxholes and concealed positions will be difficult due to the hard ground. Conceal the best you can with vegetation, camouflage, and due to operations at night, face paint will not be mandatory. The moon is in its brighter phase, starting at 80% and fading to about 60 over our operation. Ensure that movement is not illuminated by the moon, especially when we're moving along the high ground and on the hills. Enemy forces on the area interest, 2nd and 3rd battalions of the 1st CAB north of the LOA by 2 to 3,000 meters out this way. It will likely take them between 1.5 to 2 hours to actually reach our area of operations. They are most likely in defense positions and will not leave those positions. So potential enemy wheeled armored cavalry section to our west. West enemy's defense is in vicinity of Bravo Hotel 9er Tree 0 Fowler 6. Potential enemy wheeled armored cavalry section is to the east of the valley. Area of operations, potential LPOP positions will be at Hilltop 165 and at 111. And potential mechanized infantry platoons south of the AO in vicinity of 0220 Fowler Tree, and then north of the AO 01806 Fowler. The most likely course of action, platoons within the AO maintain a mobile defense using the draws and terrain as concealment, expecting an attack up the main valley to our east, with the counterattack force being from the 4th Battalion located to our north. The most dangerous course of action is they use the high ground north of the AO to set up a series of strong point defenses along here, bringing the 2nd and 3rd Battalions as their counterattack force, leaving us completely defenseless within the AO. Friendly forces, higher headquarters 2 levels up, 1-21 Infantry Battalion, 2nd BCT. Mission no later than 11-0300 May 24. 1-21 Infantry Battalion attacks to defeat the 1st Battalion, 1st CAB in order to enable the unimpeded passage of the division main attack through the enemy frontal blocking zone. The intent, the purpose of this operation is to open the avenues of approach through the enemy frontal blocking zone so that the 2nd SBCT can pass through the traveling formation without having to deploy and engage any enemy forces. We will rely on deception and stealth to enable us to engage the enemy from positions of advantage to make up for the lack of significant advantage in combat power. Close synchronization is necessary in order to maximize our advantages to prevent the enemy from being able to focus his combat power effectively. Key task. First one is keep the enemy convinced that the feint by B Company is our main attack for as long as possible. 2. Carry out the forward passage of lines through D Company's screen line and the simultaneous reorganization without use of communications that the enemy can detect. Detect and destroy enemy forces in zone so that none can engage forces moving along the valleys that are the main avenues of approach, and begin the forward passage of the second SBCT through our lines no later than 11:0500. End state. We control the avenues of approach north through the DMZ so that the second SBCT can conduct their passage without interference, beginning no later than 0500. Enemy forces cannot operate in elements larger than the squad anywhere in our zone. 1-21 Infantry Battalion is prepared to reinforce 2nd BCT forces in the enemy frontier defense zone no later than 0530. Mission 1 level up. Mission no later than 11:0330 May 24. 2nd Platoon Infantry Battalion attacks to clear enemy forces and defenses within our zone in order to prevent interference with with our main attack. Commander's intent. It will be extremely imperative to achieve surprise within the platoon for each engagement as we advance through the AO. We will therefore carry out a movement to contact by platoons, taking advantage in our ability to move along the terrain the enemy cannot use, the hills. It will be important to use fires to disrupt the enemy reactions while maneuvering for positions of advantage. We must ensure that no enemy force are in position to interfere with the division main attack. Key task. Move throughout the forward passive line without being detected by enemy. All enemy positions are detected without the AO. Prevent counterattacks from the north that could interfere with the combat team. And then our end state is no enemy forces are left in advantageous positions that can interfere within our avenue of approach. We are in a position to defend along the northern edge of the AO against any counterattacks. We have sufficient combat power to maintain our defense to support further operations. Mission to adjacent units. No later than 11:0300. Bravo Company 1-21 Infantry Battalion does a feint attack on the 4th Company 1st Battalion to focus enemy fires and recon efforts in order to prevent the enemy from detecting the actual battalion decisive operation. No later than 11:0330 May 24, 3rd Platoon will conduct a movement to contact from the passage of line to the LA to the east of us. Civil considerations. The DMZ is a restricted military area, so there shouldn't be any civilian elements to worry about. If we do encounter them, we will detain them if possible and send them to the ROK civilian affairs units to our south. We will treat them as EPWs. Attachments and detachments. We have one squad from the battalion scout platoon attached to us in phase 3, and one weapons section tack on until phase 4. Our mission no later than 11:0330 May 24. 2nd Platoon will conduct a movement to contact within the area of operations to fix or destroy any enemy present in order to prevent interference within the division's main attack. Intent. We will not have significant combat power within on-ground units. It is critical that we detect enemy before they detect us. We will fix the enemy with fire and get into position of advantageous approaches. Key task. We do not become decisively engaged with the enemy and have reserve elements to maneuver and fix the enemy in place. We will find all the scout platoon will, as well as the main element, will detect and decisively engage all enemy LPOPs. We will cross the LD. We will prevent counter attacks from the north that could interfere with 2nd Brigade Striker combat teams within our AO. End state. All enemies within our AO will have been destroyed, and we are in a defensive position to north to the north of the DMZ to defend against any counterattack or support of the division's main attack. Concept of operations, team maneuver. Phase 1 begins with a passage line through Delta Company's screen. Delta Company's weapons section will tack on their vehicles to our platoon. We will depart 30 minutes after Bravo Company to our west moves to begin their attack no later than 0330. We'll be traveling in a platoon wedge with a traveling overwatch formation. 4 squad is the main effort and are traveling overwatch. Weapons section will travel up the route northbound and head east once intersecting at the LD, following the route. We will establish a security posture in vicinity of 0230 Scout squad will confirm or deny enemy presence at the LPOP on Hilltop 111. If they are there, we will destroy them with company fires. Then 4 squad will completely destroy the LPOP position. Once Hilltop 111 is clear, we will move and set up a position on top of the hill. Traveling northbound, continue to stay on the high ground is our primary route. The Scout squad will continue to move in front of the traveling overwatch and do recon of suspected enemy location. We will continue movement to contact up to PO Wasp. The weapon squad will dismount an intersection in vicinity of 023038 and link up with us. If enemy forces are encountered, report them immediately to me. If you can destroy them, immediately do so. If not, fix them in place and report to me so I can bring another squad from our platoon to reinforce. Scout squad will confirm or deny the existence of LPOP on Hilltop 165. Destroy if there is enemy presence, and then the weapons section will place themselves on top of the hill once it's been cleared. This phase will end once we reach PO Wasp. Phase 2. This phase begins once we reach PO Wasp. We will hold a security halt on top of Hilltop 165 and request permission to continue past PO Wasp. 4 squad will remain the main effort and continued being the traveling overwatch. We will continue our movement to contact heading north. We will continue to maneuver over the high ground with the Scout squad in front conducting recon. Weapons section will wait on Hill 165 until we reach PL Hornet. As there are no roads or routes northbound that are not exposed to potential enemy locations. If an enemy force is encountered, they will report it to me. We will destroy if possible. If not, we will fix in place, and we will call precision fires and support element if needed. This phase will end once we reach PL Hornet. Once we reach PL Hornet, we will hold a security halt on top of a small hill in vicinity of 016052 to request permission to continue past PL Hornet. Once we reach PL Hornet is when the weapons section will maneuver up to the new link-up point at the intersection of 02 Fowler 061. Branch plan number 1. If need be, we will. The enemy is set in place. We will set up an L-style attack. Branch 2. If the enemy has established a strong point defense on the high ground, then we will immediately go into a hasty defense. The Scout squad will leave and revert to company control, and we will go into a defense and protect flanks of 1st Platoon conducting attack on those enemy positions. Branch number 3. If overwhelmed, we will fix us and the enemy and call artillery, then bound back to PL Wasp. Phase 3. This phase begins with the crossing of PL Hornet. 4 squad remains the main effort in this phase. We will hold on Hilltop 119 and get eyes on the area north for potential enemy locations. We will continue to travel in platoon wedge with the traveling overwatch in the front. The weapons section will maneuver up north and link up with us again. We will continue our movement to contact the LOA, which is along the northern edge of our AO. We will establish a battle position, defense centered in the vicinity of Charlie Hotel 01707 tree at this time. I intend to complete this phase by 0500 at the latest. Scout squads will return to their unit at this time. Phase 4. This phase begins with the arrival of the LOA. We will establish a battle position defense centered in vicinity of Charlie Hotel 01707 tree, which is defending northbound. AT4s will be placed at the furthest left and right limits, looking down the LOA, and then javelins will be faced semi-northbound and semi to the east. First, Alpha team from first squad will cross the LOA and establish an LPOP position at Hilltop 211 in vicinity of 1500735. Scheme of intelligence. Phase 1 through 3, the company UAS section flying north along the valley and traveling south over the AO. And then in phase 5, flying east to west, flying approximately 3 to 4 kilometers north of the AO, providing early warning of enemy counterattacks. They will gather all intelligence possible in conducting EPW to assist with further operations. Scheme of fire. In phase 1, with group Alpha Bravo 101 is in vicinity of 04150220. Those are our 105 millimeter mortars. As well in phase 1 with our 120 millimeter mortars will be group Alpha Bravo 102, which is at 03670290. And these are all going to be on major roads and intersections. If you look at the TT low deck in the ops graphics. For phase 2, group Alpha Bravo 201 is in vicinity of 04850145, and that's another 120 millimeter mortar. The second group for phase 2 is Alpha Bravo 202. This is in grid 04430258, another 120 millimeter mortar. And then third group for phase 2 is group Alpha Bravo 203, which is 04750190. And that's going to be a 105 millimeter mortar. Phase 3, our group Alpha Bravo 301 will be on grid 05440226, and that'll be a 105 millimeter mortar. And in phase 4, group Alpha Bravo 401 will be in 06330130, and that will be a 120 millimeter mortar. Task and supporting units. First squad will be Assault 1. They will hand a point man for the main element behind the traveling overwatch. They are also the primary EPW, and they will give us an from Alpha team an LPOP for phase 4 at the hilltop past the LOA. Second squad is Assault 2, and they're also primary and litter. Third squad is Weapon Squad, and then fourth squad is Security. They will provide a point man for the traveling overwatch, and they are the main effort from phases 1 through 3. Scout Squad will be attached during phase 1 and released after phase 3, and they will confirm deny presence of enemy LPOPs in front of the main element. The weapons section is TACON. They'll dismount when able and provide support to the elements engaged. According instructions, this order will be effective upon receipt. Security halt each phase line on the highest ground, so the highest hills. And then rehearsals for EPW and aim litter. Required reports: a spot rep of engagement of enemies, a salute report of the enemy once seen, troops in contact, and then a sit rep every 5 minutes from the squad leader once engaged with the enemy. PIRs: where has the enemy established a defense within our AO, and what is the size of the enemy encountered? For the FFIR, casualties exceeding 10% in any squad, less than 30% of anti-armor weapons remaining of any of the squads, and then basically any situation that could delay our movement. Sustainment: transportation, dismounted movement. Platoon support vehicles will remain first platoon behind us until phase 4. Weapons section will be mounted, moving along the northbound route throughout the AO. They will dismount when given the opportunity And then logistics, class 1, each soldier will carry 4 MREs. Each squad leader will ensure they have 2 fully charged batteries for their radio. The RTO and PSG will carry 2 spare batteries for each of their radios. And then each soldier will carry 2 spare batteries for their MVGs, as well as 2 spare batteries for their Redlands. Class 2, not applicable. Class 3, weapons section will ensure their vehicles are topped off and fluids are checked prior to step off with me. Class 4, each soldier will carry 8 empty sandbags for possible use of enemy positions, or for friendly positions. Class 5, each soldier will carry a basic loadout of ammunition, 7 mags, and then each squad will have 1 javelin, and then each squad, excluding the weapon squad, will carry 2 AT4s. And then the weapon squad will carry 800 rounds per M240 Bravo. So that'd be 1,600 rounds total. Class 6, not applicable. Class 7, not applicable. Class 8, 1 CLS bag per squad with their trained combat lifesaver. Class 9, not applicable. Class 10, each soldier or each squad will have at least 3 E-tools within the squad. Expect no replacements until phase 4 at the earliest. There will be 1 medic traveling with the PSG until phase 4. Medevac is only available for urgent cases. All others will be delivered by the ground for the company CCP, which is over there on Hill 180. Hill 180 company CCP will move to that location. Our platoon CCP will be rolling with the PSG until we reach phase 4 at the LOA. Medevac is available for cases routine and above after phase 4. Key leader location. Phase 1 through 3, the PL and PSG will travel with the HQ, which will be HQ element, which will be to the left of 4 squad. Phase 4, PL and PSG will be located essentially within the defense position. Success of a command, PL, PSG, Weasel, 1st squad, 2nd squad, 4 squad leader. Signal. Avoid radio use during forward passage. Primary communication will be on channel 2, secondarily channel 3, and then fire support will be on the fire support net. Standard call signs are in effect. Far recognition will be radio. And then near recognition during the day will be a horizontal movement, and then a vertical movement as the password. And then at near night will be IR flashlights, 4 flashes to initiate, 5 to respond. Pace plan: primary, hand and arm, alternate radio, contingency, PT belt, emergency runner. Security will be challenger password is pizza knife, running is bootlace, number 9, and that will be the conclusion of Operation, the opord brief for Operation Zonebreaker. Any questions?